Hey guys, Joshua Peterson here, Peterson Electric. This is a second part to this video of my power out. Lights were flickering, so really it wasn't complete power out, but the lights were definitely going up and down based on the microwave and disposal, which affected almost all the lights in the house. So this tells me it's getting worse. This is the second video to this. This is 2 weeks before Christmas under 2018. So I already showed you a little bit more about our meters in here. The BL200T, excellent meter. I already wanded it. I did the clamp, and I did the lead right here, and you go to line or clamp. So I checked that, and I've got this off, and I was using my ground rod and my neutral to clamp. And then I was trying to check. The other thing I was trying to make sure is, you see these screws for the Stecco? They're sticking way far out. And look what a guy did. Stuck it right through the panel and they cut it off. So I've been trying to look in here for about 20 minutes just to see, to make sure. And then I assumed maybe something was back there, so I ran my screwdriver and it gets real thin here, but there's nothing. Because if a screw pierced through and hit this neutral, that's enough to default it. So this is what I did to dig, and this is my second day. My first day I diagnosed, and my first day I dug a hole. So it was interesting, my meter was really far off. And I think what was kind of going on was detecting a little bit of my ground rod. But when I finally figured out where that was coming up, because I measured this way to the conduit that way, and I knew where I should start digging, and then I found two spots where this wire could be, and my gut was right the first time here, and it followed through. Okay, so my thought was this: in this area, the builder 19 years ago was responsible for having the electrician put the line in, not REA, the utility company. So in doing so, we kind of thought possibly the water that was making all of this shift, like I showed you before, the garage was coming down, the sidewalk shifting to the home. This irrigation pipe follows this rock all the way around. Well, that we thought maybe a rock shifted down there and hurt the neutral. Guys, that got into really fine limestone sand, very sandy and gritty, very fine. So there was nothing wrong on this side. He did want me to dig it out. Two reasons. One, I think he's going to get somebody to mud jack this up. Two, he wants to get this elbow fixed, and then we'll just throw some dirt in there so the guy can get on to step on that to work, and they might go through under the sidewalk again. But that's not part of our deal. We wanted to see if there was an issue going up, and there was not. Sometimes that elbow, I'll show you this, it's actually going to be on top of the footer or through the wall or on the outside of the wall. This is actually through the wall, and I knew that because I saw it on the inside. But if you have drywall, you can imagine that's really hard to even know that. So anyways, I kind of think they should have 2x6 walls as a code when you deal with garages, so your stucco guys don't stick long screws into your cabinet. But again, I don't believe that was the issue. The rod was fine. There's your ground rod. Look how it rust within 19 years. That's probably why they're going to 2 rods now in the 2017 code. So anyways, I followed it. So the BL200T did really well. I mean, I was off about 10 inches to 6. But as I came up to this trench, and again, some of you guys are probably wondering how I got the dirt out of there. I did it with a bucket and these. You should always have a spotter here helping you, and also you got to be careful that your trench doesn't fall in. Well, this stuff's actually pretty sturdy, and it actually peels really easy, this stuff. I'm out in Milliken, Colorado. I mean, I barely hit that. So that goes to show me that I know I'm in my trench area because it crumbles so simple. Now, how did I know the wire was there? Well, my meter said on this side it was 2.5 foot, which was 34 inches, so it was really close. And over here it said it was about 4 to 4.5 feet, which this was 4 foot 3 inches. So within a 6 foot span, I dropped 10 inches. So if you look at the landscaping, I really think that a tractor came in here and definitely scooped out a lot of dirt and built the hill. And as you look, water seems like it's going to go back to the house no matter what you do, especially if you get a flood. So we thought by this area, this is the preliminary drain he said that's been failing. I cut it out and I pulled tons of sediment out of this. Like it was like a dam inside, you're halfway full. So, and this thing is so weak that we just basically were digging it out, and look at how the rocks when they backfilled crushed it. So this water has been pooling up right in here. I also can't figure out if REA maybe did pull it through, because I found this, and guess what? My meter's gonna detect this stuff. And it was sitting right here, because there's rust still. And so my meter would be off. At one moment I thought it was here, then I thought it was here, then I thought it was here. Well, here's another thing I detected on stake. So I got the metal edging, and I got it stake, and then I got this right here. This is a head for pulling wire. But look how it looked like it broke, or it got hot, and it melted. So if you guys on YouTube know what that is, feel free to let me know. But it's marker. I mean, it looks like somebody twisted, REA would have. But I don't think they did direct boring on any of this, because I don't see an EBP 20 scheduled pipe, and I don't think they let it through the dirt. Maybe they did with the sandstone back then. I don't know. 19 years ago, I was just wiring homes as an apprentice. So basically, what I'm trying to do here is to gently keep scooping back. You might wonder why my trench is so big. Because I'll show you. Start to feel like a gopher. I like to be back at the back part of the trench so I can scoop out. I shelved it, I shelved it, I shelved it, I shelved it, and then I dug out my shelf. Probably wondering, why am I doing this? Well, two reasons. One, I had a weak part on my meter, definitely weak. But I'm starting to believe I was picking up my metal everywhere, including this guy. So that meter does not know the difference between a cold water pipe. It can even pick up sprinkler pipe that's plastic. It sends out I believe like a sonar and an EFM, electrical magnetic field, around that wire, pulsating it to push. So it can be off. Now it was right on its depth. Now, yeah, over there it told me 6 inches to 1.5 feet, and then now it's 5 foot. And then 1.17, 1.13 foot. Well, it basically states that if you're too far to the left or right, it's going to do that. But also you got cement there, and there's rebar in that cement. It's going to go haywire. Plus, I can't get a tractor over there to dig that out without hurting his stecco. So we dug that by hand. We dug this in the center because him and I both felt that if we dig it by center and we put these rocks back and we put some coupler on here and let another guy come back with a preliminary drain and get that fixed, we can basically put in a manhole right here and a manhole right here. And they're 12 inches by 14 or 20 by 14. They're only rated for 500 pounds, but this is not a traffic area. If I got a traffic area one, they're 4 or 5 times the cost. They're about 3 to 6 inches bigger, and then they're rated up to 20,000 pounds. So I don't need that. But I do need to put something in here, and then I can put his rocks around it. But here's the point about this trench. I would have to come up right here at 4 foot to splice, and then cut it and come up at 32 inches to splice. So that way I could create a U. Now why am I going to do that? Well, look at that way. I'm dealing with the tree, and this roots are huge. This thing's been here 20 years. I'm not going to be fighting that. If you ever seen an evergreen tip over, its base is gigantic. They don't go super deep, but they're just big. Like a big round root, but it goes pretty deep too. Probably at some point 3 to 4 or 5 feet. Well, this guy's house, you can see it right there, his disconnect. It goes right under this tree to the same point of that disconnect as he connects V right off. So if he gets that tree taken down, I guarantee you in time he's gonna have an issue. All because they wanted to plant stuff so it can hide that damn box. I can't tell people enough, don't put cement over it and don't put trees over it, because the roots will go havoc later on stuff. What we do know is that this is URD, direct burial. What we do know is that the conduit's good, and I only have one box in the house, one cabinet. What I do know is over there I'm getting, with the whole house off and they're gone for the day, I'm getting 128 on one leg and 119 on the other. When I turn stuff on, I'm going up to 145 and down to 102. So I know the neutral's bad. The other thing I did is, again, is I ran this number 6 wire. When I put that in on the neutral, that helped clean it up. So I know I have a bad neutral going on because it cleaned up my voltage to like 124, 125. And it's 247 between the legs. So over here it's 123 and a half, 123 and a half. It's perfect. I thought maybe my coil's bad in my transformer. That's fine. REA checked it out. In fact, they put that Super Beast on this side and the Super Beast on that side. Definitely was bad here and not here. So the next step, what I don't want to do is I don't want to be digging right here by a transformer, but I'm going to have to. Now my meter went ape shit over here. Well, of course it did. I got a 1-inch GRC conduit. I can't figure out what the hell that's doing even here in the first place. But that's for electrical. And I doubt it's gas, because gas is up, actually over here behind this tree, this over there. So I don't think it's gas, but it was sitting right here under all these rocks. Now my meter's gonna freak out with edging too, no doubt. So what I'm probably gonna end up having to do is start digging a hole in here. He wanted me to locate sprinklers so I didn't hit it. So if I have to trench it, I will. But here's what I'm gonna have to do. If you guys have any suggestions on this, I would love to hear it. I barely get stumped, but this underground can stump you. Here's what I'm thinking about doing. If I have a circuit in the house that goes everywhere, like 40, 50 devices, I